Okay, for lesson 3, we're going to be talking about author's purpose. So remember that informational text is written by a person who has a purpose. Why did the author actually write this text? And they have a point of view. What does the author actually think about this particular topic or about the text, right? What does the author want me to know from this article? And what does the author want me to think about this topic? So to support your answers, you need to find evidence that proves your response. So you want to look at the author's background. Do they have a vested interest in this? If they have a vested interest, they may not be a reliable source on this particular topic. Word choice. If they're name calling or enthusiastically praising one side too much, they may not be a good source either. And opposing viewpoints. Do they acknowledge other opinions like the opposing opinions? Because if they're not, then again, they may not be a good source. You have to look at both sides of an issue. So when you write your essay in the next unit, in Unit 8, you will need to do you're going to have your claim and you're going to provide evidence for that claim, but you also have to look at the counterclaim, the opposite side, and then address that opposite side. You're not going to support their claims. You're going to try to refute their claims and tell why those claims on the opposite side are not valid claims. Okay, so that's what you'll be looking at. Let's go ahead and watch a short video on author's purpose.
Ever had this feeling you've just finished reading something, you understood everything, but it's like something is missing? Well, maybe something is missing unless you detected the author's purpose, point of view, and tone. They're just beneath the surface, but if you pay attention, they're there. So stick around and let's take a look at the author's purpose first. Hi, welcome to Snap Language. Mark Franco here. This is one in a series of videos where we'll look at elements in the text we need to identify and interpret: the author's purpose, point of view, and tone. Make sure you subscribe to Snap Language so you won't miss any of our videos. These elements of writing affect what the writer actually says and how the writer says it. As the reader, detecting these elements helps you go deeper beyond simply understanding main ideas and supporting details. First, let's talk about the author's purpose. We don't write just because we can. Writing has a purpose. For example, if you write an email to Mary, a close friend you haven't seen in a long time, your purpose probably is to inform her about what's been going on in your life. When your purpose is to inform, your goal is to teach, explain, clarify, share information, elaborate on a topic. Now, your friend Mary receives that information. She's the reader now. She realizes that you're sharing all this information, so Mary's goal is to learn it. You often read informative passages in textbooks, newspapers, journal articles, and so on. When you detect a passage is informative, your main goal as the reader is to learn the information. For that, you need to pay attention to any definitions, explanations, illustrations, examples, and so on. Now, let's say in your message, you tell Mary you just got a new job selling vitamins. You tell Mary how important it is to supplement your diet with vitamins. You tell her these vitamins are the best on the market. Sneaky. You want to persuade Mary to do something. Now your purpose is to persuade. You use information not simply to inform, but to convince people to change their opinion, to change their point of view, or to change their behavior. When writers write to persuade, they use the information to create a logical argument. They want you to reach their conclusion by the time you finish reading. As the reader, when you detect persuasion, your job is to determine and evaluate the argument. Before you allow someone to change your belief, you want to make sure that they have a solid argument. You don't want to be convinced of something that's based on misinformation or bad logic. You'll find persuasive passages in newspaper editorials, political speeches, advertisements, passages about controversial topics, and so forth. Okay, so you can write to inform, persuade, and huh, oh, entertain. This is The Namesake, a novel about a couple that immigrated to the United States. They had children here, went through cultural shock. The writer wrote this to entertain. When writers write to entertain, their goal is to tell a story or tell a joke. They present information, but their main goal is not necessarily to teach or to try to persuade you of anything. It's just something for you to appreciate, like reading poems too. When you detect the purpose is to entertain, you need to pay attention to literary devices such as the characters, the plot, the use of figurative language, what the message is, or the moral of the story, and so on. Sometimes when you read a novel or a poem, you may learn something about the world. The author may even have a message on a controversial topic. But the main purpose is not really to inform or persuade. The primary purpose is still to entertain. There's a fourth purpose that people don't often talk about because it can be lumped together with one of the others. Writers sometimes write simply to share insights or feelings on a topic. The writer's goal is to share their thoughts. They have ideas about something and they want to share them with the world. You see that in blogs very frequently. It's an intellectual exercise without trying to teach or persuade you. You could then argue that this purpose is to entertain, which is fine, but you may hear about it, so just saying. I'm just letting you know. I want you to know about it. But there's more than just the purpose. That's for the next video. For now, look in the descriptions under this video to see if there are any links to more information about the topic. In this video, we saw that when you write to inform, you present information to teach, define, explain, clarify, illustrate, discuss, and so forth. You often see informative passages in textbooks, newspapers, journal articles, and so on. As the reader, when you detect a passage is informative, your job is to learn the information. Pay attention to the definitions, examples, explanations. When your purpose is to persuade, you organize the information to create a logical argument that will convince people to change their opinion, belief, or behavior. Newspaper editorials, political blogs, and speeches, advertisements, and so on are good places to find persuasive writing. When you detect persuasion, you focus on understanding and evaluating the argument. When the purpose is to entertain, the writer's goal is to tell a story or a joke. Novels, short stories, poems, horror stories. As the reader, you pay attention to literary devices such as the characters, the setting, the plot, the moral of the story. What the heck is the author's message? Finally, the author's purpose may be simply to share insights or feelings on the topic. Blogs, magazines, and your best friend's secret diary are good places to find those. But don't steal your best friend's diary. That's a lot of information. For now, thanks for stopping by and watching this video. The next video will be about the author's point of view. Or will it?
Okay, so author's purpose. Why do you need to be able to figure out the author's purpose and point of view? Well, you will be able to read critically and not believe everything that you read, right? You don't want to be gullible. Gullible means you're easily duped or cheated, right? You don't want to believe everything you read without questioning it. You want to make sure that there is valid evidence and support for whatever is being presented in that particular text. So question everything you read, guys.